I remember one of the occasions I was playing at Yoshi's in Oakland, California, and great jazz club, really great place. Played there a number of times over the years, and a few times I've played there solo. One occasion when I was playing solo, I finished my set, and then I went off, and a guy came up to me afterwards, and he'd been in the audience, and he was kind of almost panicking, and he said, "Where's your set list?" You know, I said, "What do you mean, set list?" He said, "Well, I collect set lists." And I went up to the front of the stage after you'd finished playing, and there wasn't a set list there. "Did you take it off?" And I said, "Well, I didn't have a set list." He said, "Well, how could you play for an hour and a half without a set list?" So I said, "Well, you know, I've been doing it for a while, and I don't actually play the same set every night, and I change it around." So anyway, we got talking about it because he was actually a guitar player, and so he was asking me a few of these things. Very often I don't think about what I'm doing a lot of the time. It's not until I meet somebody that asks me a question that it actually starts me questioning myself and thinking about, actually, you know, what do I do? And really, I look upon playing as really it's storytelling, basically. So I'm telling a story or a series of stories. And like any storytelling, it has to be paced. You can't say, you know, once upon a time, blah, 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 the end. You know, everything has got to have some kind of pace. It's got to go up and it's got to go down. It's got to have different moods, different feeling to it. So in the same way, putting a set list together, whether you kind of do it off the top of your head or whether you actually have a list that is, you know, it's carved in stone there in front of you and you're not going to deviate from that, is finding that kind of pace. And there's a number of things that I do with that. First of all, even though I'm saying that I don't play the same set every time, I do have kind of favorite things that I do. So sometimes I like to think about the first 3 tunes that I'm going to play. But sometimes that can actually change just before I go on. But as long as I have a fixed idea of the first 3 tunes that I'm playing, usually I actually like to start, I don't like to go bang straight into something. I like to start with something a little out of tempo and then go into time, because I can get to hear the room, get the feel of the guitar, and then go into some kind of pace. And those first 3 tunes have a different pace to them. And that can vary. Sometimes it can be something kind of swinging, then something more dramatic, then something again that's got a different feel about it. And then after the 3rd tune, then I normally say what I've just played, and then I'll start talking about the next tune that I'm playing. So I really kind of set the tune up. So after at that point, I'm not quite sure what the 4th tune will be, and whatever I choose then makes me decide what tune 5, tune 6. Tune 5 lets me know, gives me an idea of what the tune 4 lets me know what tune 5 is going to be. I can feel it. By this time, I've also got a good feel of the audience. So I've got a good pace of that. It's like telling a story, telling a joke, and you've got people around you as you're speaking. And you get a feel of the room, in other words. And then I always know what I'm going to end with. Say it's the first set, then I know what I'm going to end the first set. I don't necessarily know what I'm going to open the 2nd set with. But if it's one long set, then I know I'm going to end with a certain tune, and then the encore, I kind of feel that really. There's a few things that I do there. It can go either way. It can go down or it can go up. Another thing is to vary the feels, the kind of the feel of each tune. You know, the tempos and the actual, you know, rhythmically changing that as well. Changing keys as well. You don't want to do a whole bunch of things all in the same key. If you played 3 tunes in a row of all in the same key with the same feel, it would just to the listener, it would just seem like one long tune, and it'll kind of lose an interest. Another thing I do is I sometimes bunch tunes together. So there are certain tunes that I play that I always follow with another tune. So I'll have that they always go together in my mind. For instance, I play one of my own tunes called One Day, which was a tune that I actually wrote in memory of my younger son. And I tell a little bit of a story about that. I don't want to kind of, people are there to enjoy themselves. I don't want to get too morbid about things. But I tell them a story about how my son passed away and how I came to write this song. So it sets that song up, and it's something that's very deep, very personal, and important to me to play that. So obviously I'm not going to be flippant about that, but at the same time I've got to not get kind of too maudling about the tune, but just explain what the tune is about and how I started just with a melody, and then I started bringing in chords, and then that's how I play it then. So then people are with me along the way, because I've already told them the story behind that tune and how it developed, and then I kind of develop it again for them to listen to. Now when I finish that tune, some people get quite emotional about it. So the difficult thing I had, one of the reasons I didn't play it at the beginning for quite a long time, was because I thought, well, after I play that, what do I play after that? Where can I take it? You can't suddenly start playing some jolly tune. At the same time, you've got to kind of give the audience some kind of lift, because you've taken them into a pretty deep kind of space. So one of the tune that I usually play with that is a Billy Taylor tune called I Want to Know What It Feels Like to Be Free. Nina Simone did a version of that. It's a kind of a gospel tune. So it's a kind of nice, it's kind of bright, it's a positive tune, but at the same time it's not a flippant kind of tune, and it gives an uplift after that. So I've played this tune that's told one very, very sad, tragic story, and then from that I've kind of eased that feeling a little bit by playing something that is uplifting, but at the same time it's not shallow or just there to purely entertain and show people what I can do. So I will bunch tunes together like that as well. Another thing is that just about everything I play, I have some kind of an arrangement for. It can be usually how it begins, how it ends. When I worked with Stephane Grappelli, he told me something. He said, I'll tell you some advice, Martin. He said, Maurice Chevalier gave me these words of advice. He said, start well and end well, and the middle will take care of itself. Now, there's kind of truth in that. The middle doesn't always take complete care of itself, but really, yeah, start well, start strong, end strong. So you always have that. Sometimes I'll have a good opening, a good ending. I'll have maybe a little key change, maybe something in the middle that's arranged, but then I have the freedom to improvise within that. But even though I have an arrangement, I'm still free to drop the arrangement and just play what I want. But it's kind of the arrangement is a kind of a safety net. So if I run out of some improvising ideas, or I improvise myself into a corner, kind of paint myself into a corner, I can find my way out, because then I can then revert to a little bit of the arrangement, maybe for a few bars, and then go back into improvising again. But think of it like that. If you're a musician and you're thinking about how you put a set together, just think of that. It's storytelling. You've got to pace it. There's a few key mechanisms that we can use: changing keys, changing feels, bunch a few tunes together. But always remember the words of advice that Maurice Chevalier gave to Stephane Grappelli, and Stephane passed on to me. Always start well and end well.